myself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you.
Good morning and welcome to NUFC Matters with me, Steve Wraith, and it's a special edition of the show. We have got the lads from the Longsands on, and of course, those of you who've tuned in for the last 12 months to the show will know that that is our opening track, Worlds Collide. So it's good morning to Ian and good morning to Trevor. How are you doing, lads?
Very good, very good. Nice to see you, Steve. It's been a while.
It has, and it's great to have you on, really, because your music is once again, started to, get people excited, and there's already, messages coming in from fans who watch the show but who love the opening track. P. Davison there says, "Morning, everyone. New to the Longsands. Don't know how I missed that one, but got both albums after a few watches of the videos on YouTube. Top draw band. Please give it another go." I think we might get a few of those messages this morning. And Rich Story says, "Morning, lads. I love the music and massive thanks to Ian for all his help with our recent project. Much appreciated. Of course, you did do the little video for my birthday last week, which was much appreciated. But we'll come back to your comments later on because I do want to talk to the lads. Just tell us a little bit. We'll go with you first, Ian. How did the band get together and when was it? Because a lot of people have missed out on this. They feel as if they've missed out on something, which I can tell them they have. But how did you start out?
Well, firstly, it's nice to know that people are genuinely interested. We thought you were just scraping the barrel for guests, to be honest. But you'll have Russell Hastings on next week at this rate.
No. Not after his paddy at the last Jam gig and what he did for Natalie. Not a chance in hell.
We love you, Russell. So where did it all start? Well, probably back in high school, really. Trev and I and Gaz went to school together, and we formed a band called Lotus in high school, and that kind of sort of continued on while we were at uni. We all stayed around Newcastle for uni, and that was kind of, we wrote our own stuff, but we did covers and we did the pubs, and it was really good fun, good times, but it wasn't particularly well organised or very, very serious. It was just a good laugh, and
just an opportunity to get lost.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a bit of a test period, the Lotus years for us, because prior to that, Ian and I hadn't got on particularly well during school, and we had a similar friend group. And we were both into music and that, but we just thought we were both dicks, to be honest. And probably because we both had massive egos, and we were both trying to be, the best musician in the massive town of Cramlington that we were in, and what have you. So Lotus was sort of testing the water for a few years, and we discovered that Ian could write some decent tunes, and I could sing a little bit. But it was a test period for Ian as well, because he kept comparing me to another guy who was a singer in Cramlington as well. And to be honest, he was crap. But Ian just knew that it got underneath my skin. So I think he was just trying to encourage me to get a little bit better. And you know what Ian's like. He's the master of manipulation, isn't he? So
went to the Reg Cray School of Manipulation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then we kind of all went away and done some stuff. Trev went travelling. I moved over to Manchester because that's where my now wife Jenny lives, and so I've been here for quite a few years now. And then kind of got back together around about 2005, 2006, and decided that we were going to quit our jobs. I don't think we had particularly good jobs anyway at that point, and give it a go full time. We'll put a year into it, I think we said, and it was about 8 years later when we stopped doing it full time, and probably about three or 4 years ago now since we decided to call it a day.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a hell of a journey, and for you, Trev, the lead singer of the band, you shared, didn't you? You shared the responsibility of writing songs. Ian gets a lot of the credit for a lot of the classics, but you chipped in as well towards the, towards recording of the albums. What was it like putting the songs together and seeing, people's reaction to those songs. I mean, I think when I first met you, Worlds Collide was acoustic. I was working on the door Tiger Tiger, and I just loved that song. And when I came to see you live and heard it, played with the rest of the band, it was that's always been my favourite song. It's why I chose it as the opening tune. But what's it like for you? When you were writing the songs and then singing them, to see people's reaction and see how much people enjoyed them.
It's seeing that progression. I mean. We all had a bit of an input. I mean, Ian obviously came in, especially on the first album. Ian and Stan would come up with the lyrics and the melodies, and to see that progression from what's a few words on a piece of paper to then realise that we've actually achieved a fan base on our own original music, and not just through doing cover gigs and things like that. To then doing an album launch and having the whole crowd sing your songs back to you. That's when you've made it as an established artist in your own right, and that's where I got a massive sense of pride from. My writing side of things probably came together more during the second album, and when we realised that people were really hanging on every word of your songs was when you would play a song, you would trial it as an acoustic track at a couple of smaller venues. And then by the time you got to actually play it live with the rest of the band, the majority of the crowd already knew the words. 99% of the time, I didn't even know the words, and I had them written on a piece of paper down at the front of the stage somewhere, And I would get corrected on the lyrics afterwards by fans of the band, And I know you've got it wrong. But yeah, I mean, I don't think at the time either we really appreciated how far the span of the band actually went and how much of an impact we had on people. I think it's in hindsight since we packed it all in that we've started to realise that we've had messages from people saying that we helped them survive massive bouts of depression through our music. We've had people say that their children have been brought up listening to our music, and the devastation. Oh no, it's terrible, isn't it? And can we get back together so that the kids can hear us, bring them to gigs and that? Now it's like, really? I'm just some lad from Crowie who plays a bit of guitar, and I used to run a buskers night once upon a time. But yeah, it's still humbling to this day, to be honest, Steve.
That's brilliant. Well, look, Worlds Collide is the opening track that we use on NUFC Matters. Who wrote the song and what's it about?
So the riff at the beginning, Stan wrote that, and that's kind of like all he had. He was just playing this riff. So we worked out what the chords fit around it, and then I went away and wrote the lyric, the melody, and then we kind of brought it all back together, really. But it was the original riff was Stan's, and he didn't really know it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, I'm gonna play the track. So let's have a listen to it.
Critics attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again. But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true.
And it feels alright when they come and say to you, you're the only thing that makes us all believe. And it feels alright when the worlds collide. Manipulation stands to make us break.
What's that you said is coming over you? You're wishing upon a star. You're wishing it on a star. You are. You fight back, it's an all-out attack. It feels like I've been taken on the world's machine. You 'Cause I want it more than anyone can dream. You look back and it's all in the past. You tell me how you live by all the things you do. Well, you can be yourself, but maybe I'm not you.
And it feels alright when they come and say to you, you're the only thing that makes us all believe. And it feels alright when the worlds collide. Manipulation stands to make us brave.
What time you said it's coming over you. You wish it upon a star. You wishing it on a star. You are, you are, you are. What time you said you want control of me. It's something that you should learn. When the cards are dealt, I run you burn. What time you said it's coming over you. You wish it upon a star. You wishing it on a star. You are, you are, you are. What time you said you want control of me. It's something that you should learn. When the cards are dealt, I run you burn. What time you said it's coming over you. You wish it upon a star. You wishing it on a star. You are, you are, you are, you are.
Hilarious.
Yeah, some great comments coming in as well. That is a great track, and again, as I say, that is our opening track, and lots of people as you can see, the love for the band is obvious from fans new and old. But yeah, what is the song about? I cut you off just due to the fact that this StreamYard application has now decided to do it a different way with videos. You can play longer videos, but you've got to know what you're doing. I'm learning as I go along, as you can tell. But yeah, what is the song about, Ian? You were rudely interrupted by your own.
Every day's a school day, Steve, isn't it?
It is, mate. It is.
It's one of those random ones where it's one of those songs that's not really about anything. You kind of write some words down and then you reflect later. At times I've read the lyrics back and thought it was about Trev and I's arguments. Other times, I think it's about how you can like exist in a world, and there's always going to be like conflict. There's always going to be stuff, but you've kind of just got to be yourself. And if you be yourself, usually, and you're honest, you're kind of the best version of you, and that's the way to go about it, really. Like, don't worry about what anyone else is thinking. There's a line in there: you can be yourself, but maybe I'm not you. And you've got to kind of find your own path. So it's probably something to do with that. But I don't know. Answers on the postcard.
Trevor, is that one of your favourite songs, to sing with a band, or was it one of those was that like your Love Me Do moment where, it's a song that gets requested all the time and you think, oh God, not that again. Was it becoming a bit of a pain, or was that one of your favourites?
Nah, to be honest, it was one of the easier ones to sing in the set. Also, when we were getting towards Worlds Collide, it was coming towards the end of the set. It was an easy one to get through. And I knew I was getting closer to getting a beer at the end of it. So but we did various different versions of it as well over the years. We did loads of acoustic versions of it. And we mixed it up because it could have ended up getting really stale, that song, because we did flog the living. I think we released it about 4 times or something over the years. So
yeah, there's another version of it out there somewhere with another video when Sean was in the band, wasn't there? With the recorded studio. I mean, speaking of the video, how random! I was laughing at that. I mean, I think it was like, right, how are we going to get Tino Asprilla in this? I've got an idea. It could be some like dodgy gangster boxing. I
want to know how it got Tina into the Stella Village Club in Cranley.
There's a question actually from Keith there saying, where was the music film? So we're from Cromlington, or most of us are from Cromlington, and we all used to drink in Cromlington Village Club. I used to work there as well, so we know the guy who, the steward who runs it quite well, and we needed a dingy cellar, so he let me go down there. Although I wasn't there for that filming. Is that you doing the pretend with the hoodie on, Trev?
Yeah. We couldn't afford to pay the extras at the time, so I just did. But I was also laughing at the video. They must have had a special offer on checkered shirts from Giacomo that week.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I feel sorry for the lass who had to do a press up on the floor of the bogs. Like, what?
Brilliant.
She's never seen it again.
I mean, Tino Asprilla was one celebrity, but I mean, we were associated, and I say we're because I obviously managed the band. We're associated with some rather big names in the life, in the world of sport, in the world of crime. Here's just a few. Mad Frankie Fraser, of course, which was at another salubrious venue in the centre of Newcastle. He did a little bit of dentistry as well for Ian on that occasion. There was also a trip down to Manchester, which is, of course, now where Ian resides, for a game of paper, scissors, stones with Shea Given, of course, who played for Newcastle. And we also had a trip to another part of Manchester where Paul Stevenson, the drummer, of course, had a game of darts against Ricky Hatton at his house. That trip probably memorable for our cameraman Neil Jackson standing in dog dirt outside Ricky Hatton's house and working out how he was going to walk into the house without traipsing it round. Also, another famous face, probably not as well known to those of you just watching, looking at that photograph, but the guy who's standing in between me and Stan is a guy called Henry Hill, who was, of course, the main focal point of the film Goodfellas. He was on a trip to the UK, stayed in a house in concert for a week, and ended up coming along and sitting and watching the band rehearse. So again, another famous face that we had up at the club in Cramlington. He loved a brown ale, didn't he? He loved a brown ale. He loved anything alcoholic. This guy as well, Steve Harmison, of course, Ashes winner, Ashes hero from Asherton, had a game of egg and spoon in one of the challenges against Gaz. Gaz dropped his egg, I think, if I remember rightly. But of course, the one that the band met who made the name global, if you like, was this guy, former heavyweight champion of the world, Mike Tyson. And of course, that day was an event I put on in Gateshead. And Trevor, I'll let you take over the story. You took on Mike Tyson, but not at the sport that he was accustomed to.
That's right. No, I was in a sport that I was accustomed to either. This story, Steve, follows me everywhere I go. So bearing in mind, I now work for companies. I've travelled all around the world. I've been sat in restaurants and this conversation comes up and oh my God, how many times I told this story. But yeah, so we're doing the event with I and Mike, with yourself. And, again, thanks again for involving us in all those types of things. And Ian and I are always thinking outside the box, as you, Steve, and we're always thinking of how we can find an opportunity for a bit of self-promotion. And me and Ian were playing golf, I believe, at Slearley Hall one day. Not that I'm a golfer, there's a story we'll allude to. And I was in the rough. I was in the trees somewhere, to be perfectly honest, looking for a ball. And I'm that bad. I think I just gave up on looking for my ball. I just picked up a load of conkers and hid them into my golf bag. Because I probably ran out of golf balls. I'd lost so many. I thought I'd take them home for my nephew at the time because I didn't have any kids. Got back home and I was just sitting thinking about the Mike Tyson thing. And I was sitting on the toilet, where you have all your best ideas. And I thought, I wonder if we can get in touch with his management and see if we can get him to have a game at conkers. Because obviously Tyson's into all these, he's into his pigeon racing and things like that. And he loves English culture and stuff. I thought, this will be a really clever idea. We'll see if we can. We haven't got much promotion at the minute before the album comes out. We'll just see if we can grab a couple of lines in the Chronicle or get it onto YouTube or something like that. So to yourself, we got in touch with Tyson's management and said, can we get this game of congas set up and we'll film it, we'll chuck it on YouTube. And it was a right faff, wasn't it, Steve? Because his team were he wasn't too bad himself, but his team were a load of prima donnas, weren't they? And they were like, get this man a chamomile tea. Who are these guys over here? Get them out of here. And it was just like, honestly.
In Dunstan, of all places, can you get us a chamomile tea?
we all got thrown out, didn't we? So it was like, it's like a circus. Yeah. He threw everybody out. There was about 20, 30 people. There was press there. There was like all sorts of like sort of local, I don't know, movers and shakers, probably people who'd sponsored the event and paid far more money than us. And we're all stood outside waiting to see what happened. And this security guy with the curly earplug and all that, and they look like special forces, opened the door and he just went, there was about 20 of us stood outside the door and he went, Michael, see the band now. And we were like, everybody else went back in again. It was funny.
The best bit of that was, actually, I know I digress a little bit, but my cousins were at that event and I was like, look, don't pay for the photographs. It's expensive. Don't pay all that. Come with me. I'll get you in to meet them. So they were standing beside us. Obviously, they got kicked out. They weren't allowed to come in and meet Mike. By the time they got back down to the front, it was too late for them to pay for their photograph. So my auntie and my granddad both met Mike Tyson, I believe, and got their photographs taken. Those two, who are real boxing fans who love Mike Tyson, were sort of sitting there in the corner. But anyway, so we get in there and we're trying to explain it, and they gathered us around, and we got this thing going. I had this quick game of conkers. And then straight away, the security guys on the video, it looks like the security guys trying to just sort of force us out the way, doesn't it? Because Tyson cracked my conker and he was like, man, I'm going to bust your ass if you hit my knuckles and all this stuff. And I was just like, yeah, whatever. But then they called us back and he was asking all about the band and he thought it was great, didn't he? And we had a bit of crack and had some photos taken. We did the old Beatles one, getting punched in the chin and everything. And then away we went. It was filmed, and the next day, Neil put together the video, put Worlds Collide underneath it, and the links to the website on and things like that. And rather than sort of conversations about potentially getting into the News Post Leader or the Herald and Post or something like that, there was conversations going on about News International and the BBC wanted to do an interview, and before we know it, it was on like Yahoo Asia homepage, Yahoo South America, Yahoo Europe, and then Loaded magazine wanted to do an interview, and Radio 5 Live had us on one of their shows, and
for a week we were as popular as Handforth Parish Council, huh?
Yeah, that's it. And it was hilarious because we tried to tee ourselves up as established musicians, and we worked so hard at our music. And all it took was my scruffy old shoelaces off my trainers and a couple of congas and played a game with Mike Tyson. And all of a sudden we've been, thrown into this worldwide stage. And it still comes up in conversation yet, It's crazy, man. Crazy.
Great stuff, great story, and it was great to be part of that. And the band got some deserved publicity from it. And just tell us a little bit about your rock, paper, scissors against Shea Given, Ian.
Well, I think it's safe to say it was the most boring challenge.
The Frank McAvenny golf challenge was pretty grim, like.
Yeah, I've got no idea what I'm wearing. I mean, I look like an Eskimo. But yeah, I mean, I think at the time he was at Man City, and again, I was living down this way, so it was. I think what the Tyson thing did was it kicked on this series of challenges, and I thought that the Hatton one was good, wasn't it? And the egg and spoon was funny as well. But we came, the idea was we'd all do a challenge, and then we'd do the group one against I think it was the Falcons, the rugby team. That one was good fun as well. So it was just a way of, I think our music, for whatever reason, goes down well with sports fans, the football fans. There's a kind of crossover between that kind of sort of indie music, always has been. You know, the Roses, Oasis, those kind of bands tend to fall into kind of football and like lad culture or whatever you want to call it. And we just thought, you know, like this is a good way of getting more music out to probably the types of people who might be into it. They're probably quite similar to us in terms of, you know,
and for us as well. You know, we're all massive sports fans. I mean, massive Newcastle fans anyway. But you know, outside, I was a huge boxing fan. You know, big cricket fan. Just the opportunity for us to go and take advantage of the connections that you had, Steve, in the same way that we had on the crime side of things as well. You know, we end up in some really precarious situations at some points in time. You know, but it was all part of the excitement. And before we knew it, you know, sitting in dingy old hangouts with Howard Marks, hearing stories that had never even made it into his books and stuff like that. And there are memories that we never would have got, you know, should we not have been involved in that cultural side of what we're trying to do.
That takes us nicely into the next song then, in that case. You did mention Howard, and Howard sadly passed away. Mr. Nice, you may well have read the book or watched the film, but he was a good friend of mine, lived in Leeds, of course, and there was a song, Little Britain, Ian. Again, just take us through who wrote it and what the story was behind that song.
Yeah, so I think that one was all me. I think I wrote that song in about 10 minutes. We'd done a tour in around about 2007. It was like we called it the toilet tour because it was like our first UK tour. It was at the back of a van. We were on everything from campsites to travel 6 in a room. You know, and it was up and down the country in some pretty dingy venues, but it was great. The camaraderie was there, and it was pretty much like the last few weeks or whatever before the smoking ban, and we were all. I mean, now you wouldn't even think, would you, about like, you know, smoking in a pub? But at the time, there was this kind of period afterwards where every pub just stunk a piss because like the smoke had been hiding it for so long, but they've probably just got better cleaners. I don't know. But anyway, we've been kind of debating that stuff, and it was about like, you know, I guess freedom of choice and regulation by the government and that kind of stuff. And I was young, and Trev had probably made us listen to too much Bob Dylan that week or something like that. And that was basically.
We'd done a venue in Hull, hadn't we? Called the Adelphi.
Yeah.
And the government were trying to close it down because it was saying that it just attracted. It was so 80s, like it attracted glue sniffers or something like that. So they were trying to shut it.
I think at the time as well, they were talking about, you know, they seem to be regulating like quite a lot of stuff, but like not the banks. They probably should have done that, right? So yeah, I think that the smoking part of it was just topical at the moment in time, but really the song was more about freedoms and stuff like that.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, it's a great song. Of course, it was on the first album, and one well worth listening to. One which we haven't played on the show before, so this is going to be a first. And the video, of course, does include Howard Marks, but a little cameo role for me, which the lads kind of gave us as well. So see if you can spot us.
If you're right, you're wrong, only free if you sing their songs. And I know they wait to wear a head and they regulate if I laugh at jokes around work, that my job's on hold and they fight so hard to be free. But if you smoke your bar, so I'm out here standing in the, I'm out here standing in the, I'm out here smoking in the rain. you're young and bright, but you need a gun to fight. It won't take the blame. It's all sky and computer games, and I see divide on our streets, and it's in our eyes. When I pay the fee, I feel alone in my own country, as I'm out here standing in the, I'm out here standing in the, I'm out here smoking in the rain. So let's raise the roof and do it for all our children, unless we want them all to be their angels. Let's raise the roof up our next generation. I'm sick of standing in the, I'm sick of standing in the, I'm fucking smoking in the rain. So we pay their tolls I can't save, and my funds control, and they make us see it's for our good and our own safety. And I laugh at that, and I ask where your balls are at. There's a big debate, is it true the weather nanny stayed as? I'm out here standing in the, I'm out here standing in the, I'm out here smoking in the rain. Let's raise the roof and do it for all our children, unless you want them all to be their angels. Let's raise the roof up on this generation. I'm sick of standing in the, I'm sick of standing in the, I'm fucking smoking in the rain.
Brilliant song, that. Brilliant song. Great video as well. You know, bearing in mind we did all these videos, you know, courtesy of Neil Jackson on a zero budget. We didn't half pull it off, lads, when you look at them, don't you? Know, you look back.
I just want to know how we got Howard Marks to sit on a mini roundabout thinking of
Dave Beanie sends a message. He says, that was Steve in a dress sitting next to Prince Charles. We're getting some familiar faces on here. Keith Roll, good morning, lads. Love the opening song on Steve's channel. Is this on an album to buy? Yes, Barry, we will give you a shout out of where you can hear the tunes towards the end. Keith says, I had to be the doorman. 46 Ray says, all Longsands songs are amazing. Can't say that even about the big bands. Great memories. P. Davison says, I never noticed the knob and ball scribbled on the forehead. So
that's fantastic.
Joe Walker says, that looked like one of your easier evictions, Steve. It certainly was, Joe. It definitely was. I felt a bit aggrieved, actually, when I watched it back and looked, taking advantage of Howard Marks. If that had been now, Twitter would have gone mad, probably saying I should be locked up and the key should be thrown away. Let's talk about something else which we did, which was massive as well, and this was huge. You got a chance, which no other band really gets the opportunity to do this, unless you're maybe Lindisfarne from the northeast. Play at St James's Park, and of course that was one hell of a day because Newcastle also played Sunderland in the derby, and we came out 5-1 winners. But what was that like, Ian? Just stepping out onto the turf for you?
It was one of the most bizarre days. Obviously, it was amazing. It was nerve wracking. We weren't allowed to play live, which was the first time I'd ever done it. So I think we nearly pulled the plug on it, and then didn't, because it was like, oh well, we've kind of got to do it. So there was, yeah. I mean, the day itself was it's a bit of a flash, really. But I mean, the result was good, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean,
The last time we beat them, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was,
probably,
more or less. Yeah.
So yeah, it was just Newcastle fans growing up and all that. It was just 52,000 people, and the atmosphere, of course, at the Derby days just electric, and yeah, it was something else without a doubt.
Just looking at the looks on your faces, lads. I mean, it just says it all, doesn't it? Just looking around. I mean, that day in itself, Trev, was, it's a great. We couldn't have picked a better day, could we, to be there? And especially just as the kickoff's happening, you had the players warming up and then going back down the tunnel, and then as you finished your song and come off the pitch, the players were coming out the tunnel. Just to be there and see something which no fan would normally get the opportunity to do was just bizarre, wasn't it?
Very rarely do I take a moment to be proud of myself, but that day I was caught up in it the whole day. You can see it in my face. Looking up at that big stand. Bearing in mind, from 5-year-old, I'd sat at the front of the family enclosure with my dad when it used to be at the front of the Milburn, and I was just looking around the place, just thinking, Christ, how many people do I know sitting in there? I can't see their faces. How many people are watching me on the TV at home? It was when they first brought in 3D football on Sky, and we could see them ginormous 3D cameras whizzing around, and I was miming, I sang in the wrong places. It was absolutely horrendous in terms of a performance. I couldn't take it in. I was just, like Andy Carroll, and, all these players were coming in the dressing rooms earlier on in the day. In fact, I think Brucey was the Sunderland manager then as well.
He was.
I remember him standing. I was glaring at the side of his head, thinking, "What a knobhead you are!"
Yeah.
And I feel exactly the same these days. But it was just fantastic. We very quickly got brought back down to earth, because we had to go and do an acoustic gig in a pub in Sunderland that night, and murmurs of people going, "That's them Mags, that's them Geordie bastards, that's this, that, and the other." I was standing in the toilets in this pub, and I had a poster on the wall saying Longsands playing here tonight, and I could hear these blokes behind us, and there's a big picture of my big noggin, and I'm going, "That's them lads that played on the pitch today, they're playing here tonight," and I'm standing having a waz at the urinal, and I was like, "Don't recognise this." But no, honestly, again, that's another one I look back on, and just it's almost like a dream. I was never going to play centre forward, so I might as well make the most of it while I was on the pitch.
Fantastic, great memories. Dave Beanie, of course, you were on. He's in the chat there. He was on banner duty as well. He had to roll the banner out and then unroll the banner. But we managed to get a few people in, didn't we? We managed to get a few extras in, and it was a great day. And of course, the result, crowned a wonderful day. But again, it was good publicity, lads, wasn't it?
Amazing. I mean, that put us to the next level in the Northeast. We've had a devout following from the back of that. People still talk about the bleeding races and the stuff we did for the Bobby Robson Foundation to this day. It was just, it took us to that next stage, and that's what we needed from it, as well.
Definitely was. Let's talk about another song before we play it. Talk about Bully. Ian, where did that come from?
Oh God, I think that was one of the songs off the first album that was one of the like newest to when it was recorded, if that makes sense. So we had like a bit of a back catalogue of stuff that, like, your Little Britons, your Wilkes Clyde, but we had about 5 or 6 other songs that we ditched off it, and I wasn't happy with it, and me and Stan went away and on a weekend and really wanted to get some better tunes in there. And that's one of the ones that came out with it. So I think, again, that was very similar to Worlds Collide. Stan had that riff at the beginning, the kind of dun, 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 dun. And then I, turned it like wrote the chords, wrote the melodies and the lyrics as well. And yeah, it's basically about bullies. that's what it's about. And in the middle is like a weird instrumental bit that kind of goes really out of time. That's supposed to resemble a fight, like so when the person stands up to the bully kind of thing. That's what it's about.
Can you remember much about it? Can you remember much about the video, Trev?
Yeah. Mickey Maggs, the local boxer, was in it, wasn't he?
That's right. Yeah.
It was a really long day, and it was bloody freezing in that gym because it was actually next door to where our studio was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And oh god, I just remember it was bloody tedious, and the mic stand we were using for my mic, the mic kept falling off it, and I was in a bit of a bad mood, to be perfect. And so as much as I'm trying to look all silvery and cool, that's probably just because I'm a bit annoyed. It ended up, I would say it came out as probably one of our best videos. Though Neil did a great job on that one. Strange enough, I bumped into Mickey Maggs in Wetherspoons in Cromlin just probably about a year ago, which was a bit odd. And I think he was saying he was going to go into bare knuckle cage fight.
Yeah, he did. Oh, he's a warrior. He's definitely a warrior. Okay, well, we'll play the tune. We've got a couple more to go through before we finish. This is Bully.
The expert, the voice, but you're one of the crowd. A vision of weakness, you're dull, but your voice is so loud. I'm the butt of your jokes, cause that's all more girls you hang round. You killed to make your imprint on my soul. The poet, the heart and the lungs of this land. Charismatic and fun, I can laugh off the banter you hand. Cause in 15 years time when you're lost, I'll be still in demand. You'll be working the bins on a wage of about $7 grand. You'll never make your imprint on my soul.
No, not like me. I'm not like you. You never break my soul. No, not like me. I'm not like you. You never break my soul.
A scumbag, a bully, the new dirty den. Through the fear of violence and status, you hustle your friends. You're an empty machine and your life has no meaning. You're dead. You'll never make your imprint on my soul.
No, not like me. I'm not like you. You never break my soul. No, not like me. I'm not like you. You never break my soul.
What a tune. Lots of people enjoying it. Of course, Loaded Football has adapted that song for their opening titles, and you can catch them every Wednesday at 9 o'clock. Big shout out to the sponsor, Spider VPN, who sponsor the StreamYard application. Also a big shout out to qtechshop.co.uk, the makers of pool tables and snooker tables in Wallsend, and Jab Signature, who make all of our promotional material. 15 minutes left to get your questions in if you want to ask the lads anything. We're going to jump into the next track, I suppose, quite quickly, and this one comes from the second album, and for me, I think that's a really strong album. I know Longsands fans, you know, to and fro between them, they're not sure which is the best one, but Choices, tell us about that, Ian.
So that one is actually probably the only song that I've ever written, that's made it onto a Longsands album that I've written like almost as a how do you explain? Like I was asked to write something, so it's not just a feeling or a thought. I wrote it specifically for some
concept.
Yeah, exactly. So you'd have to remind me of what that thing was called.
It was originally for Moreland's Firm, wasn't it? Yeah,
Moreland's
that's right.
Firm, that's the one.
Unfortunately, didn't really come off. I mean, it got filmed. It got filmed 2 years ago. A pilot episode got filmed, but the guy who filmed it made a bit of a balls up of it. And it's a pity because the cast all came together. It all worked out quite well. It's not dead in the water, but it's still you know, that's what it was written for.
So this was for anyone who doesn't know, this was a script that I was given the brief to write the soundtrack for. Probably the easiest way to explain it is it's like The Sopranos in Newcastle, right? That's probably the easiest thing. So crime family in Newcastle. So I just took the script, read a bit of it, and just turned it into that song really. So I guess it's about maybe not having many choices growing up in a certain neighborhood and things like that, and how that leads you into possibly a life of crime, and it's a hard thing to get out of as well. That's basically what it was.
What was your take on the second album, Trev? It seemed more of an emotional one. I mean, I know, you know, obviously the band and individuals in the band had been through quite an emotional time, and the second album was, you know, it was recorded very quickly.
Yeah, we did the majority of it within a week. It was, I would say, the album as a whole was a lot more mature. I think we'd allowed the first album to breathe a little bit. We all went through various things in our personal lives, and at one point we weren't even sure if the album was going to get made. And then we thought, well, look, if we're going to do it, we need to do it the way that we want it. We spent a lot of time on that first album, you know, working on the sound of intricate, specific sounds of a bass drum, you know, which took us 4 weeks. You know, whereas this one, we just said, right, we'll go into a studio with a producer, Fred, who we'd worked with before, who we trusted. We just said, look, we'll get a really good live feel to the overall sound. We'll just go in, we'll blast it out. And I think the album really benefited from that. We had that. We'd always struggled to get that live sound that we could and replicate that on a recording. Down to my vocals, down to the sounds of the guitars and the fullness that we had. So when we got the list of songs together and we managed to compile the chords all into 1 week, we all came together probably for the first time since we'd all been through many different things separately. And there was a real emotional connection on that album. We came together, it gelled, we all got on really well. Everything that had gone on previously was just sort of parked for that week. And that was just something nice. There was a connection, and I think that really comes through on the album. There's some quite sad songs on that album. There's some quite dark and deep parts of it. But again, we've still kept that political feel of stuff that we care about. It's still in there, you know, probably completely different things, different subjects to, you know, what was on the first album. Like Stand in the Shadows, one of the songs that I wrote on it was about my wife and the way that she was treated by a colleague and things like that. Not that rock and roll, really. It's not, you know, taking coke at 6 o'clock in the morning, but it you know, it's stuff that was personal to us at the time.
Great stuff. Well, this is choices. I'm going to leave it up to the listeners today to decide which song we play out with today. I'm going to give you a 3-song choice. The choices are Streets and Pavements, Tomorrow We Vote, or Shut Your Mouth. So 3 songs there. Get them in the chat. Let us know which song you want us to play out with, and that is what we will do. So this is choices.
Whatever.
So I'll just wing it.
Yeah, alright, here we go.
Hi, I'm Trev.
Hi, I'm Stan.
Hush now, city kids, gather round for Pavements. Hush now, city kids.
When it came to me after so long, I didn't have no choices in the streets where I was from. When I think about the pain, I didn't have no choices. I took what I had sworn.
Hush now, city kids, gather round for Pavements. Hush now, city kids.
But you know, the wouldn't let you have it any other way. Stepping back from what you like, the past just pulls you back in again. Save me from myself, it just carries on. Just carries on.
Hush now, city kids, gather round for Pavements. Hush now, city kids.
When I think about my friends, I didn't have no voices telling me to win it. What I take, it becomes mine. I'm gonna build an empire, one without a shrine. But you know, wouldn't let you have it any other way. Stepping back from what you like, the past just pulls you back in again. Save me from myself, it just carries on. Just carries on. Wouldn't let you have it any other way. Stepping back from what you like, the past just pulls you right back in again. Save me from myself, it just carries on. Just carries on.
Gather round for Pavements. Hush now, city kids, gather round for Pavements. Hush now, city kids, gather round for Pavements. Hush now, city kids. Hush now, city kids, gather round for Pavements. Hush now, city kids.
Great song. Great video, though, isn't it? I mean, that was just giving Neil Jackson free rein to go through the archive and pick out some classics. And there's some great stuff on there, Ian.
Yeah, I mean, I think at that point, we were all, different parts of the country, and getting together to make a video just wasn't going to happen. So that we basically give Neil free rein. It's got nothing to do with the song. It's just a nostalgic 5 minutes of the Longsands chaos, I think.
Yeah, that's the best way to describe it, Trev, isn't it? I'm just reminding us of the Friends of Mine festival there, which was that clip where you and Ian getting interviewed, and we had a blast down there, didn't we?
Oh, we did. It was absolutely crazy. I had my trousers stolen out of my with the van keys in. We couldn't get to the guitars or the drums or anything. I had no pants. I went and blagged a lot of free clothes off Henry Lloyd. You remember of the Henry Lloyd stand? And then I think I had to sing for that. And, it was just absolutely mayhem. Fantastic.
Brilliant.
So basically, just for anybody listening, this is what we had to put up with Trevor the whole time. As he said, he lost his jeans. The van keys were in it. The instruments were locked in. And every sound engineer or lighting engineer he spoke to at that festival, he told them that he'd been diagnosed with epilepsy, and he couldn't have any.
I had to just make it up.
Well, he had. So anyway, he went missing one night, and we were like, "Where is he? Where is he?" And one of our friends found him in the rave tent with like all the paraphernalia going on and a whistle in his mouth.
With Blue Head Nick, the photographer. Some happy memories. Hi Nick, if you're watching. It's a hell of a journey. We're nearly at the end of the show, because I know we could only really do an hour on this, and we haven't talked about Newcastle United, which is great. I'm sick of talking about it. And I know you're big fans. Just briefly, Ian. You live in Manchester now, but you're still following Newcastle religiously. It looks a mess. Doesn't matter which part of the country or the world you're in at the minute, because there's no takeover. We've still got Mike Ashley, and Steve Bruce is still the manager, and we're in a relegation position again, relegation battle again.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, Steve, these, particularly since like the coronavirus thing and that, I don't like watching football without a crowd. I don't know what it is. It freaks us out a bit. And I cancelled Sky a couple of years ago, so I do watch the games. I've got Amazon and stuff, and I've got a few streaming sites. I caught the. I thought we were great against Southampton. I thought second half they really dug in. They really wanted to play for him, and credit where credit's due. That was good. I thought they were a lot better in the second half against Chelsea and being the more recent games. But I mean, the whole thing. People hark back to Rafa. It wasn't pretty under him either. It's not funded right. When you're looking around at clubs like Tottenham and Everton and things doing pretty well. I mean, I don't think anyone's expecting us to be up there with Man City, But I think we've got a fan base, and I think we should be on a keel or on a par with clubs like Tottenham and Everton. I really do. I think the fan base is there, the setup's there, the passion's certainly there. So for me, I'm a bit disengaged, and I know that's not being a great fan, but my two little boys play grassroots football, and I prefer it. I'm coaching now as well in there, and the kids, they just want the ball. Like, they're not bothered about any of the other rubbish. And I must admit, I'm more into grassroots football, and obviously that I'm not taking them to see City or United. So I think as live football comes back, I'll probably start taking them down the road to Mactown or maybe Stockport County or something like that, and maybe try and get into those two.
If they survive the coronavirus, that's going to be a big issue for these lower league clubs. Trev, your take on Newcastle? I mean, have they got enough to stay up, do you think?
I think they have. I think, I've gone the opposite way, because I've had more time on my hands. So I've probably watched more football in the last 12 months than I have for years, because I haven't been travelling. I would say, that's times, Miggy's digging in there. He's got that fantastic work ethic. We still haven't got St. Maximin back into full games yet. You can see he tires very quickly. I think if we can get Wilson back at any point in time, we can get that, we can make them runs out of the wing. We can get Wilson picking the ball up, bring it back in. We can make opportunities. I think we've been a bit unlucky in terms of continuity. We can talk about our management and the ownership until we're blue in the face. That ain't going to change. It's rubbish, but it's a situation we've got. I think the players that we've got in that team can keep us up. We've got a hard game again tomorrow. Again, we've got nobody to target up at the front without Wilson. That's the trouble, because Andy Carroll comes on. All he does is give away free kicks at the minute. And there's a lot of complaining and moaning, and that's disappointing. Dwight Gale just didn't have an impact last week, did he, at all? Just don't know. I think what my concern is at the minute, the teams underneath us have got a bit of flair about them, and they seem like they're in a position that they could potentially build a little bit of a run. Whereas I'm not that sure. It depends how it goes. I think another injury or so this season, we could be absolutely knackered.
Yeah, okay. A lot of people asking about the music. Some people are first-time listeners to the Longsands. That was the first album, Meet Me in Spanish City, and the second album was Us and Them, both available on Amazon. Us and Them is certainly available on Spotify and iTunes. You can get them on there. There is a fantastic DVD, which once we get our website sorted out in the next week or so, we will have that on sale. So I will be doing a bit of promo and a bit of plugging for that. It's live at the university. It's a live gig. Well worth buying. We'll be putting that up for £10 plus postage. A lot of people asking me as well what my favourite Longsands moment was. Well, it was this. It took a little bit of persuading the lads to do this, but this was my dream. If I ever managed a band, I wanted to recreate what the Sex Pistols did, which was, of course, go down the river where they lived, and they went down the Thames, and they were eventually arrested when they pulled in for playing a live gig on the deck of a boat. But it was a gamble, it was a risk, but it came off, and we did get the Longsands to play on a trip down the Tyne. Trevor was singing under the Tyne Bridge, and for me, that was just a wonderful day. It was me getting to do something that I really wanted to do, and just the sight of Japanese tourists with their cameras as we came to the Tyne Bridge, taking photographs of who is that band. But it wasn't ideal. We were banking on the weather. It didn't rain, luckily, although it was very close. But what a day that was, lads!
It was great, and what made it even more bizarre was we were just about to pull away from the side, the dock of the Tyne, and bloody Carlton Leach and Cass Pennant from the Intercity firm rock up and climb up. The thing nearly capsized with the weight of them two.
It was good. It was a good setup. Ian, we'll come to you just to tell us a little bit about Streets and Pavements. Unanimously, that has won the vote for the song that we're going to play out with. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that one I had the chords and the melody in my head for ages, and the lyrics tended to come last for me. And I was humming the chorus. I was in the shower, and sometimes I just used to put random words in just for now, just to get a feel for what the song would sound like. And I was singing in the shower. It's happening all over. It's happening all over. It's happening all over. So I got out of the shower and I was like, what's happening all over? And I picked up the newspaper and there was a big article about knife crime. And I read the article. So that's what the song became about. If there'd been something else in the newspaper that day, it would probably been about something completely different. So it's not a personal experience or anything. It was just I was struggling for lyrics and I came up with this line, it's happening all over. And some of these songs, actually, particularly the ones off Us and Them, I know this one's off Meet Me in Spanish City, I think in this day and age that they're more relevant than ever. Like songs like Us and Them and Streets and Pavements and what have you. They seem as apt now, if not more, than they were back then when they were written and released. So they're standing the test of time, I think.
And the video, Trev, can you remember much about it?
I just remember all these little casuals sitting around Newcastle and to get into a video. A great group of lads, and I know you're still in touch with Danny and that, and a few of the other kids. But yeah, it was entertaining. Again, I can't remember that much about it. I don't know.
Think we were there. I don't think we were there for that video. I think some college kids made this one, didn't they?
Yeah, we did, because we went down to that C nightclub. It ended up being the Riverside. were down at a part of it when it was being filmed. But yeah, I just remember them kids who were around us for like a couple of months while they were making the video, and like they smashed up the bogs in an Indian restaurant one night and stuff like that. It was just absolute mayhem, and then they just disappeared again. Never saw them again.
Part of the football casual firm back in the day, these lads, they were young lads. Most of them have moved on from that like now, but we employed them to come and do the video, and they did a cracking job. I'll come back to you lads after this one, but this is Streets and Pavements.
Day status was, trying to be somebody, do you know what I mean? Not trying to kill somebody, 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 kill somebody.
Jimmy quit the team today on the back of yesterday's commitment to scum. Left his friends to join the gangs, learned to kill with his bare hands for status and fun. And it's happening all over the streets and the pavements run red. And it's happening all over the streets, leave their victims for dead. Silly days, what have we come to? The streets and the pavements run red. You can read it in the sun, what these books and films have done. A culture gone wrong. Believe that, then you're a fool. It's these regulation rules, the kids don't belong. And it's happening all over the streets and the pavements run red. And it's happening all over the streets, leave their victims for dead. Silly days, what have we come to? The streets and the pavements run red.
No standing here, no ball games here. You can't watch it sit, no kids in here. You can't surf or beer, you can't run through here, you can't smoke in here. So bored around here. So they go out, smoke it top, get your swig of Amsterdam. What else do they have? And they laugh and they cry. Someone even starts to fight, and then you'll get stabbed.
And it's happening all over the streets and the pavements run red. And it's happening all over the streets, leave their victims for dead. Silly days, what have we come to? And the pavements run red. And it's happening all over the streets and the pavements run red. And it's happening all over the streets, leave their victims for dead. And it's happening all over the streets and the pavements run red. And it's happening all over the streets and the pavements. The streets and the pavements, the streets and the pavements run red.
Talk about product placement, how Stone Island and Adidas can you fit in one video?
I know, and we never got a penny off them, but it's still a great video, isn't it? It's basic, but it's a good one.
It's funny because we're not in it.
Okay, the big question that's been asked time and time again today on the chat. You've seen it; it's been on the screen, lads. Is there any plans to to come back? To are you writing new stuff, Ian?
I am actually. I've got probably about 3-4 new songs that are pretty much finished, ready to go. The lads have heard a couple of them. I wrote a belter the other day, but then realised I completely ripped it off the Beatles. So that's not gonna wash that one. like literally ripped it like word, well, not word for word, but like melody from Tomorrow Never Knows. But it's got a good chorus, so I'll probably keep the chorus. So yeah, I am writing. There's been plenty of time with the lockdowns and stuff. I've not got through as much as I thought. What that means, I don't know. We did those online gigs sort of almost be 9-10 months ago. Now I want it in the first lockdown, sort of April time or whatever. So it won't be long before that. So yeah, and then I think we got together and we sort of said, we'll see what happens. I don't think we thought we'd be stuck in the house still by now. So we've not really been able to try and even get together and rehearse or anything like that. I think, there's a lot of water under the bridge. It's all good. Where everyone's up for doing something, but what that is and when that is, it's really really hard to say at the moment. So I guess until you start committing to like a project, like doing a whole album with me being in a different part of the country, we've all got kids and stuff. Like I think we all want to do it, but it does take a lot of commitment, and I know. Trev's got gymnastics to get to on a Saturday, and I've got football with the boys on a. Trev's not doing gymnastics.
I was going to say I don't think that will work out.
Yeah, he's got off on this with that part. So it's all that kind of stuff. Like we're parents, we're kids, and we've got to be a bit more selfless with our time as well. That, Steve. So. In theory, I think we all want to do it, and if you want to make something happen, you'll make it happen. But how long that's going to take, we're not going to be able to do this kind of full time or anything this time round. So, but I think we're all up for doing something anyway. We'll see what that is.
Trev, it's got to give you a buzz just to see the people commenting today, how many people have been on the show to watch it, and people still love the songs, and they're keen to see some more. So that in itself must give you a little bit of motivation to get back out there and give us what you're good at.
Is that direct to me? Because I'm the grumpy one who keeps can I be honest?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, pressure on you, mate.
No, I've always said it's got to be right for all of us. The songs have got to be right. We've got to enjoy them. I'm not saying no to it all. Again, if we could have got a bit of momentum going at the point last year when we were all having conversations about it again, it would have been a lot easier. But I've seen the comments from people and the messages we still get every day from fans of the band. It does. It brings it all back. It brings that emotion back into it. That drive to want to go and do it, to go and perform again. It's got to be in the right circumstances, and at the minute, it isn't really suiting that for us. At the minute, our priorities are making sure our kids don't go crazy because they've had me teaching them, doing homeschooling for the last few months. So get them back to think about it a bit more. But
I think to understand where we'd need to be, Steve, for everyone else's perspective, the reason that I kind of walked and drew a line under it the last time wasn't because we fell out or anything. It was for respect of those people that Trev was talking about. We were in danger of doing 1 or 2 gigs a year and just playing our back catalogue and taking 15 quid a ticket off everyone because they would have sold out, making a bit of cash and going away. And I thought that was really disrespectful to the people who've supported us over the years, including yourself, but the fans that turn up. I was in this band because I love making new music and being creative. I had no ambition to become a cover version of ourselves. Do you know what I mean? And that's kind of where it was going. So I just wanted to step away from it for a period of time and focus on some other things. And I think everybody else kind of once we got over that initial sort of announcement, between ourselves, everybody I think's probably done well out of it, and things are a bit more fresh now. And I think we'll once we get in a room and we play some music together, and some new music together, you will know straight away. And if we really want to do it, then we'll find the time to do it. And if we find the time to do it, it'll be really good, and it won't be a half-assed effort. You know what I mean? And that's really, really important to me.
Have you got a message for people watching, the fans, Ian?
Thank you. Always thank you. your band. I've always said we write music for ourselves because we enjoy it. That's got to be the way to do it. But if it's honest and people can connect with that, that's brilliant. But without people turning up, without people listening, that there are no gigs, there are no records, there is no money to make. I mean, we don't make a lot of money, you know that, Steve. It all pretty much goes back into the machine. So, like, just thank you. And as you know, as long as there's people there, we'll look to try and put some stuff out. It might be that it's more recorded stuff and we don't play live as much. It might be that I don't know what the version of it's going to be, but we're up for doing something. We've just got to wait and see what happens.
But obviously, lockdowns continue. And any plans to do like another online one like you did last year?
Yeah, I think I will actually. I'm up for doing one. We've had a lot of people ask that, so maybe. I might do something in the next couple of weeks. And Trev, I don't know if you fancy doing something the week after like we did last time, and we'll try and raise a bit more.
Really? Really?
Give us a message, Trev, for the fans watching.
No, thank you, especially to the new fans of the band. You know, welcome to the party. It's good fun following us around. But everyone who's followed us from the start, you know, thank you so much. I think about it every day, even though I'm not in the industry anymore. And the reason I've got such fond memories of it all is because of the support that we got from committed fans from the start. So yeah, cheers.
Great stuff, lads. Been an absolute pleasure. I know we've gone slightly over time, but
I've got my son's drum lesson to go and get him on a Zoom call now.
Yeah, well, I'll let you crack on. I'm going to select a final song. It was between "Shut Your Mouth" and "Tomorrow We Vote." And "Tomorrow We Vote" won because of the video. I'm sure we can do this again at some point, lads. But thanks for coming on. Take care, lads.
Cheers, Steve.
The street, so he turns to the fringe. You gamble and binge to escape. You know, votes in, votes out. The disillusioned who don't care about it. Divided we stand to join with this man's revolution. You'll have it all before tomorrow. You have it all, but not today.
Bullshit. That's
The bad things in life you have to pay for. The bad things in life will never be, will never be, will never be, will never be free.
Can we stop for a second? I really want to answer these questions. I really want to find
Well, I'm tired and I'm sick. Don't bother talking if you don't care about it. They'll toe the line, condemned into life's institutions. What's this new voice? Prey on the vulnerable and target the lost boys, preaching the things you need to an electioneering. You'll have it all before tomorrow. You'll have it all, but not today. The bad things in life you have to pay for. The bad things in life will never be, will never be, will never be, will never be free.
I think that politicians do have to think about what we say, and I think the trouble with Twitter, the instantness of it, is I think there's too many twits might make a twat.
Dollar phonies will throw their stones from their glass houses and second homes. Only disruption and time can bring